They have a system set up where they want us sick. They want us unhealthy. Hi friends, Kara Corey here. Welcome back to the channel. I am your friendly registered dietitian. We are here to keep things realistic, science-based, and factual. And for today's video, we're going to do just that. And we're going to talk about something that one of you all brought to my attention, and that is another fad we have here with weight loss efforts. It is called a skinny shot. So before we go any further, let me know down in the comments below if you have heard about skinny shots or not. This is not to be confused with a video that I did a couple weeks ago regarding semaglutide, Wegovy, Ozempic, those GLP-1 injections. This is a separate injection. This is a lipotropic injection that is comprised of different compounds. So we're going to go all into details on what the skinny shot is. Is it dietitian approved? Do I think it's necessary? Is it harmful? And what is it on the market for? If you enjoy these types of videos that are fact-based, nutrition-based on some of the latest trends and what I recommend or not as a nutrition expert in the field, then be sure to like this video down below. That does help me out in the algorithm, as well as make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You can hit the little ding-a-ling down there as well. That's gonna let you know each and every time I have a video posted. So interestingly enough, it was one of you all, when I was on Instagram talking about Wegovy and Ozempic, I had one of you reach out and say, hey, what do you think about the skinny shot trend? I had not heard of skinny shots before. There's so much on the market that it almost feels overwhelming as a dietitian to keep up with it all, especially when some of it is a bit trendy and stuff maybe I wouldn't normally recommend or even see working in a clinical atmosphere. Just background, I do work in a psychiatric hospital. I don't function in the hospital as a dietitian anymore because I've moved up into management. However, I'm still very well versed in the medical clinical side of things with how we handle our patients. So when I hear of this stuff and I'm like, I have never heard of this before, it drives me to research it, to take a look at it and discuss it here for you all, an effort to just better educate all of us on this stuff. Very interesting. When I went to the Googles just to look it up and see what I could find research based on lipotropic injections, it took me quite a while because there really isn't great research on lipotropic injections, nor is there a lot of conclusive studies that kind of give us what the efficacy of these are, meaning how good they are they safe, what are the disadvantages. There just really isn't a ton that's been put into research studies to be able to sit here and share with you all. So I did my best with kind of using the resources I could online. I did look through some studies as well as just Googling it, which is always very telling to throw lipotropic injections into Google. If you do that right now, what will come up mainly with your search results is a ton of different med spas. So normally when I type in something like that, like even when you type in Wegovy or Ozempic, you get a lot of studies, you get news articles, you get a little bit more factual based information. When I typed this in, it was one med spa after another telling me they could sell me their lipotropic injections. So that was telling in itself. But let's go through the details here of what actually a lipotropic injection is, or what you may see referred to as a skinny shot. By Google's definition, by, kind of looking at what I saw online, the definition of these are lipotropic injections are basically a mix of different vitamins, different minerals, different amino acids that help people reportedly lose weight and lose fat by essentially decreasing their appetite and possibly increasing their metabolism. The biggest thing here that's kind of hard for me to touch on, but we're going to anyways, is what is comprised in a lipotropic injection. And the answer to that is it varies. It varies based on the provider that you're going to receive this injection. So there are some similarities. There's some main things that you should have in a lipotropic injection, but it will vary based on who you're going to. So this is my number one mention for you right here and now. If this is something that you are already taking, or number 2, you're interested in taking, or you want to go to your doctor to ask about it, buyer beware, and please make sure whomever you're working with to receive these injections that you ask them. You get the full breakdown and you get the information of what exactly is in your injections, because it's going to be different every single place you go. And it does matter what different level of each of these compounds is in this injectable, because it could result in different side effects. Before I even go into all that can be in this injection, the one thing I want to say that stands true, which was also very similar to the GLP-1s we discussed for weight loss, is these are also to be used in conjunction with diet, lifestyle, and an exercise routine. So once again, these are not a replacement for doing all these things. These are not, you know what, I don't feel like working out. I'm just not motivated. I don't feel like changing my diet. Let me just go get some injections. It doesn't work like that. And I think the world still wants that magic wand answer where we don't have to do those things. Your answer is gastric bypass, quite honestly, will produce those results acutely. You need to have lifestyle and diet changes in conjunction with this. So anything I have read, thankfully, even the med spas were putting that on their website, that this is something you need to do in addition to diet and exercise. So at least that's out there, but I feel like I can't say it enough and I can't say it loud enough, because it's the one thing people want to choose to not hear. And I still see and hear people say they take injections because they don't feel as motivated, and it's just easier than trying to work really hard to lose those last 5 pounds. So I'm not sure I'm on board with that approach, but that is still an approach that often exists. So moving into what would potentially be in a sknny shot. So these are the main compounds you're going to find in a sknny shot. And there isn't just one brand I can list for you. There isn't a set brand. These are just off-brand type injectables. They are not FDA regulated. Let me mention that too real quick, because this is considered along the lines of a supplement, not a drug. So supplements do not fall under the FDA for the Food Drug Administration. They do not require FDA approval. They would be, these would be regulated under the DSHEA, which is the Dietary Supplement and Health Education Act of 1994. So that is what most supplements will fall under. And it's not to say that the FDA can't come in and pull something. They've done that before with certain supplements that were found to be dangerous. But it's just something that's still important to know. And again, I'll throw in my 2 cents that just because something is FDA approved doesn't always mean that it can't have harmful side effects either. So, and just because something's FDA approved for one thing doesn't mean it can't be effective for a different need. So there's all these different factors, right, that we have to think about as we start drilling into different means of weight loss, supplementation, and injectables. The main things that you're going to find in a lipotropic injectable is going to be B vitamins, number 1. Typically, you're going to see vitamin B12. You're going to also probably see vitamin B6 and just vitamin B complex. So that's very general, but from what I can see from most of the different sites that sell these, it's going to be a combination of the majority of your B vitamins. To what dosage, I can't be certain. I don't know how they dose these things, so that's another thing to take a look at. We have seen some studies looking at B12 by itself, and we've also seen B12 studied with Phentermine in combination for weight loss. So the actual dosage that it needs to be in effort to help you lose weight, I'm honestly not quite sure. It has been studied for B12 up to 1,000 micrograms for potentially assisting, but it's not set in stone. It's not one of those things that's well studied, and that the evidence shows that by taking B12 and 1,000 micrograms per day, that it's going to result in weight loss. Throwing in Phentermine, it's going to yield some weight loss, and then breaking it down into this lipotropic injection, possibly, but it's going to depend on the dosage. What we know about B12, number one, is it helps in our energy metabolism. So our B vitamins in general are amazing. We need them because anytime we eat food, those B vitamins help us in processing that food to break it down into using it for fuel, or also known as energy. So when we don't have enough of these critical vitamins coming into our diet and or via supplementation, it can make it very challenging for just a general healthy adult to be able to best function and to release that energy and to use it as effortlessly as possible, if you will. Throw into that any kind of medical conditions or comorbidities that can make it even more challenging to either A, absorb vitamins and minerals, or B, help release the energy from the food that you're consuming. So in effort to really give yourself the best shot at using your energy as best you can, which I think we all want that, you really need to make sure that you're having enough of these vitamins and minerals coming in through your diet. And yes, you can get them in through food, and then sometimes supplementation is needed. In particular, when it comes to B vitamins, a lot of those are coming from animal-derived food products. Plant-based proteins aren't going to be the way. So often our vegan, vegetarian friends, you are going to need a little bit of support and supplementation. Additionally, the lipotropic injections often contain some branched chain amino acids. They may also contain things like L-Carnitine. We've probably heard of L-Carnitine before. L-Carnitine is an amino acid that can essentially help to possibly increase your metabolism. It assists you with converting your fat into energy. So taking that stored fat and better utilizing it as energy within the body. L-Carnitine is one of those things that I feel like the research really isn't great in how effective that is and in what amounts that you need of L-Carnitine supplementing into the diet to utilize. However, we also know that there is truly no dangerous side effects from what I can see with L-Carnitine either. The other one that seems to be hit and miss, which is where I'm like, buyer beware, Phentermine is also listed in the mix there of this injectable. So if you're not familiar with Phentermine, it is pretty studied actually in terms of being approved for weight loss. But what we do know with Phentermine is that it's usually approved for short-term usage, depending on the dosage. You know, usually you're not supposed to be taking it for longer than 12 weeks. It has side effects related to cardiovascular issues. So if you're someone that already has any type of cardiovascular issues, you probably want to steer clear of this, or definitely at least talk to your doctor. Also, thyroid, if you have any thyroid disease or thyroid issues going on, that's another one where you'd probably want to steer clear of Phentermine. We do know, however, though, that Phentermine does produce weight loss for most individuals in conjunction with diet and exercise, but to what degree are they putting that in there? And it also makes me wonder, are they telling people that it's in there? Are you just showing up to a med spa, buying their package? Because oftentimes you're not just going there for an injectable, it's a whole package you may buy. And are they actually telling you what's in there? I would love for you actually, if any of you are watching this video and have experience with getting a sknny shot, please let me know down in the comments below what your experience was with taking it. Were you informed of what was exactly in the injectable? Did they do a good job with educating you on all that stuff? I'd love to know. I've never actually been to a med spa for these types of things, so I'm genuinely curious on that. But you would need to know if Phentermine is in there. That is going to raise your heart rate a bit. It's going to speed things up a notch. And if you are someone that's, say, even just sensitive to caffeine, and then all of a sudden you've got this influx of Phentermine coming in, that could definitely make you not feel well. You could definitely experience some side effects from that. So it's going to depend if that's in there, number one, and the amount that it's in there. The last three ingredients, or the dream team, if you will, that should be comprised in your injection will be a combination of 3 different amino acids. You may be familiar with these. Number 1 is methionine. Number 2 is choline. And the third is inositol. Methionine is an essential amino acid found mainly in meat, fish, and dairy products. So again, our animal products, they help us build protein within our body. And methionine can actually not be made in the body. So you must consume it through the diet or have some kind of supplementation in order to ensure that you're getting adequate amounts. Methionine aids in the breakdown of fats by both preventing their accumulation in the arteries and also aiding in the digestive system and facilitating the elimination of heavy metals out of our body, which can be converted into cysteine to prevent toxic damage to the liver. So in a way, if you're someone that's having any lab indicators of fatty liver disease, this could be a helpful amino acid to reduce that or eliminate it. Number 2 I mentioned was choline. So choline helps with prevention of cholesterol and fat buildup additionally within your arteries. So choline, similarly to methionine, assists with removing the bad stuff, right? Removing the bad cholesterol from our liver and just assisting with overall fat transport and metabolism within our bodies. And the third one I mentioned, inositol, that can also be referred to as vitamin B8. That one's naturally occurring in foods such as fruits, beans, grains, and nuts. You can also produce that within the body from carbohydrates that we eat. This one has several different functions, as do the others, but in terms of weight loss efforts, the action is similarly to that of insulin. So hormone essential for maintaining blood sugar control. In addition, it acts on our chemical messengers in our brain with neurotransmitters, assisting in production of GABA, as well as serotonin and dopamine. Based on everything I looked at, those should cover everything that you would find in one of these sknny shots, but it will be dependent on where you go and who the provider is. Now, these are going to be injections, so how much you actually need is also going to be dictated by your provider or prescriber. And so the dosage and how often you're receiving it will vary. I saw on the lower end once a week for maybe 10 weeks. And then for others, I saw maybe 3 to 4 times a week for 4 weeks or until your weight loss goal is achieved. In terms of cost with these, so it looked like you could possibly try to attempt to get these covered by insurance. Of course, depending on what insurance you have, you would likely have to tie it back to treatment for a known medical diagnosis. And even then, it looked like it's still rather challenging to actually get this approved. And not to tangent for a second, but it brings me back to the Ozempic Wegovy video too, that I feel that this is a common theme with anything that could potentially help with weight loss. Even as a registered dietitian, it's really hard to get it covered by insurance. So you have to meet very specific criteria to be able to meet with a registered dietitian and have your insurance cover it. Why is it that way? Let me ask you all, why do you think it is? Is it for the greater good of us, for the Americans, for our health, to be preventative? Absolutely not. There is nothing preventative about our medical system. And so that's the stuff that really pisses me off, because you can't even go to a dietitian and get that covered under insurance. I think things such as just going and getting a massage should be covered by insurance. Chiropractic, which now is, well, for some people, acupuncture, these preventative integrative therapies should be covered. It's got to make you question, why aren't they covered? Why doesn't insurance want to cover these things? I hate to be negative, but I'm trying to be realist. And I think they have a system set up where they want us sick. They want us unhealthy. They want us to need these medications. So I'm just trying to give you a little other perspective here. But unfortunately, yeah, a lot of this stuff, even if it is great, even if it is fantastic on the market to help with weight loss, insurance is likely going to fight you. They are going to challenge you to cover it. Anywho, in terms of cost, again, varies where you go, but I basically saw on average it's anywhere from $35 to $75 per injection. So yeah, I'll let you determine whether or not you think that's super expensive or not. And I was trying to find studies to support the longevity of use of this, which if there is phentermine in it, it's going to depend on the dosage with how long you could take it. But I would assume based on what the compounds are that are in there, any additional effort it provides to assist with weight loss is going to stop when you stop taking these injections. There's nothing that's going to be in this injectable that's going to actually change your metabolism for the long term, from what I can see. And it hasn't been researched. So I'd be hard pressed to say that you could take these for a short duration and see metabolic changes for the long term. I could be wrong, but that's just me venturing an educated guess. So do these shots actually work? From what I could read, the science is pretty mixed on it. Like I said, we don't have great scientific evidence. There are some clinical studies on lipotropics and obesity, but it still remains pretty inconclusive. And I'm not sure if that's just due to the lack of evidence or the fact that there isn't just one set protocol for these injectables out there. They're all over the place and in different dosages. So it's just very up in the air for me. And I did try to look to see just more opinion-based searching on TikTok and forums, things like that, if people had good experience with it. And from what I saw for those that were using it, they were doing it in conjunction with their weight loss program and seemed to find it somewhat helpful. But again, people didn't know to what extent it was actually helping them versus just the diet, lifestyle, those behavioral changes that they were making. Failed to mention too, in terms of the actual injection, these ones are meant to be injected into subcutaneous fat, which I guess is kind of nice. It's a little bit easier if you do end up injecting yourself, which I guess you can, because I believe you can just buy this stuff off Amazon. Not that I'm promoting that. I'm just saying through the research, it looks like you can. But just an area with more subcutaneous fat. So in your stomach, your gluteus, your gluteus maximus, anywhere you got a little extra chub, you know what I'm saying? You just inject it there. In terms of side effects, well, this is going to vary based on what's in there, obviously. But similarly to other weight loss assistance, if you will, we always often see a lot of GI side effects anytime we are ingesting things that are going to suppress our appetite or speed up metabolism or just mobilization of fat. GI upset can occur, nauseousness, upset stomach, also some side effects of fatigue. You could have potential allergic reactions from any type of injectable. And then depending on if there's phentermine in there or not, you could have some side effects from that with increased heart rate and other issues cardiovascularly related. So what is my takeaway on this now that I've given you the rundown? I am someone that I did go to school for evidence-based, research-based stuff, but I also have an understanding that just because something doesn't have the evidence and have the proof doesn't mean it couldn't be a viable option to assist someone with weight loss. And I do think we need more tools. We need more tools for the individuals that are doing all the things, that are making the behavioral changes, that are sleeping well and taking care of their mind and doing all the right things and still needing a little bit more assistance for whatever reason it may be. Because no, it is not just calories in, calories out. It is not that way for each and every person. So you have to understand that there is a need to have some tools for weight loss in the market. Is this the right one? I'm not sure. I could not find enough evidence to support it one way or another. It was quite funny. I found a local weight loss spa near where I live that offers it. And when it listed that, studies back weight loss, I clicked their little link, and I appreciate that they linked a research article. But their research article was specific to researching supplementation for choline, just choline, with female taekwondo and judo athletes. study size 22. There was 15 Taekwondo and 7 Judo athletes that they supplemented with high doses of choline that did seem to produce a bit of weight loss, because in sports like that, if you're not familiar, oftentimes you do have to you got to get weight. You're in a set weight category, and so you have to make weight for your meet or your competition or whatever it may be. So that one specifically studied choline. So choline's great, obviously, but I just thought it was kind of funny because that didn't really support their entire injectable and what was in it. It didn't really go into the science. So I personally didn't really feel that confident with that med spa injecting me. So my best takeaway for you all, if you are someone looking into this, or you know someone who's on this, or you want to look into this, just be a more informed consumer. Ask questions. See if you can get the actual information of what someone's injecting in you, or if you're going to be injecting in yourself. Is Amazon the best supplier for you? Do you feel comfortable with that? You need to just take it one step further when it comes to your health. And I think oftentimes people just see weight loss, and that's all they want to see. They don't want to know or care about anything else. They just want to lose weight. And I know how frustrating that can be when you are doing all the right things. I have been a dietitian in this field for over 15 years. So I have worked with many, many people who have been that level of frustration where you're either ready to throw in the towel altogether, or you just want to do anything that could possibly help, even if that comes with bad side effects. So I understand that, but always take that time to ensure that what you're doing is healthy for you. Make sure you're under the care of your doctor and that they have knowledge of what you're ingesting. Make sure what you're taking doesn't conflict with other medications you're maybe already on, or other supplements you're already taking. I mean, thankfully with what's in the Lipotropic, most of it is water soluble, which the benefit to that is if you overconsume it, you got good kidneys. Thank you for our good kidneys. It'll help us just excrete it through the urine. So usually no harm done there when we consume things in excess with our water soluble vitamins. But there could potentially be other side effects or interactions depending on what you're already taking or what you're already doing. So my main takeaway from this is, could it work? Yes. Could it not work? Yes. So is it worth it for you? I cannot be the judge of that. I just think we definitely need some more tools out in the world to assist with weight loss that can do it in a healthy manner, and that maybe insurance would support. That would be beautiful. I'd love it if they supported you all working with registered dietitians first, which, by the way, do offer one-on-one coaching virtually. So if you're interested in that, you can send me over an email and we can chat more. But other than that, I just wanted to shed some light on this topic, let you know what the scoop was on the sknny shot. So looking forward to hearing your experience with it. If you've heard about it, if you haven't, if you think this is good information, it always helps me out when you share it with your friends, your fam, and on your socials. Would much appreciate it. That is it for me in this one, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.